What's going on? This is your man John Fortune, your host of the Frustrated Fan Sports Show. And today I'm going to start doing something earlier than I normally do. And this is my player evaluations. I'm going to go ahead and start with these quarterbacks. And I'm going to start with one that everybody seems to be talking about, but everybody seems to kind of try to want to avoid. And that's Drake Maye. So, I'm going to give you guys the rundown on Drake Maye. That is a fair rundown. Now, I'm going to tell y'all this. I have been evaluating players for a minute. I haven't worked for an NFL scouting department, but I will say this. I have scouted better than some actual NFL scouters. And they can feel how they want to feel with me saying that, but I have found some jewels that other people have not looked at. I was one of the only people who talked about Brock Purdy. Nobody talked about Brock Purdy. I was the only one who did. Terry McLaurin, when everybody was calling him a special teamer, I was the only one telling people, no, he's Pierre Garçon with speed. Hufanga, nobody was talking about Hufanga, and I told people Hufanga was going to be something special. And even back then I said that the Houston Texans should have taken him, and yet and still the San Francisco 49ers took him. Who else? Brevin Jordan. You're starting to see him develop a little bit more now that he's in Houston. Nico Collins, I talked about Nico Collins. It took a minute, but I told y'all what he was going to be. Who else? I'm trying to think of somebody else. Nua Fanwu, the safety in Detroit. Again, he was another one I talked about. People bypassed on him. He was another one that I told people was special. Nick Bolton. I told people how special Nick Bolton was going to be. People, like, a lot of times you can evaluate guys and get really good assessments from these guys. And at the end of the day, there's some people that people just miss. Jalen Johnson. I told people Jalen Johnson was the better cornerback in that 2018 draft. I think it was the 2018 draft or 2019 draft. I told people Jalen Johnson was the better cornerback, and people still thought it was Jeff Okudah. I sat up there and told people that the best safety in that draft was Julian Blackmon, and because even on Utah, I think they felt that Terrell Burgess was the other guy on that Utah defense. People was talking about, and I was like, no, clearly Julian Blackmon is the better safety. So again, I have assessed some really good guys, and I've come out on the winning end of a lot of this. So I'm gonna break y'all down with the Drake Maye thing. Now, I'm gonna start with a lot of his flaws, because I think that so let's talk about this draft class. For me personally, Drake Maye to me is probably the fifth best quarterback in this draft, and I'm only putting him slightly a little bit above JJ McCarthy, because there are some tools there you can develop. I think that the reason I put him slightly above, the reason JJ McCarthy doesn't leapfrog him is because I think JJ McCarthy might have benefited from playing in under Jim Harbaugh and playing in a system that didn't utilize his throwing as much and depended heavily on the run game and the defense to win. But that's the only reason why. But when it comes to Drake Maye, there are a lot of things that I think people are over analyzing with him. He's not the best passer in this draft. The best passer in this draft, without a shadow of a doubt, is Michael Penix Jr. He's the best. He's the most elite passer in this draft. I understand the Michigan State game, the national title game, didn't bode well for him, but at the same time, the entire team was playing poorly. You know, and he lost his key running back, and they were still trying to run the ball with him with that going on. But still, the best passer in the draft is, without a shadow of a doubt, Michael Penix Jr. Then you talk about Caleb Williams, who's the best overall prospect. Like, he has it all. But the thing about Drake Maye is that there's nothing that you can really put your finger on that you can say he's elite at this or he's special at this. I remember going on my man Tone Protect Sports show and saying that, look, Drake Maye, like, he looks and he's having an identical season to what Sam Howell has. Drake Maye, for one, like, let's start off with this. He plays in the shotgun a lot. More than what you could even imagine. He doesn't go under center at all. And for a lot of people who complained about the factor of play action and play action from under center and stuff like that, Drake Maye doesn't do that. So you're talking about basically bringing in a Drake Maye and having to deal with the exact same situation or exact same issue you had with Sam Howell. Here's another thing. He's not super accurate on the deep ball. There were several games where you saw a big one is the Clemson game and another one is the Georgia Tech game. If you look at those games, there were times where Drake Maye threw the deep ball and there was space for him to get the ball to the receiver and he just threw the ball out of bounds. Just completely, there was no pressure, no nothing. He just threw the ball out of bounds. So you're talking about, here we are again, a guy that's not accurate on the deep ball, a guy who doesn't play under center. He's 100% in the shotgun. Not only that, he's bad at the handoff point when it comes to the OPR game. There were a couple times where his mishandling of the handoff ended up in a fumble. And you're talking about, when you talk about the NFL, you're talking about a guy, when it comes to handing off the ball, you can't be fumbling like that because, again, you can't be the reason that a running back gets credited for a fumble when the handoff was bad. So we saw that when it came to Drake Maye. Another thing is that when Drake Maye gets out the pocket, his accuracy is basically, it goes down. There was the Clemson game where he got out the pocket, threw the ball, and overthrew the receiver, and it turned into a pick six. So there was that game. North Carolina State, he had a bad game. He didn't play well in that game. Also with Drake Maye, you have to also add in this. You have to add in the one thing that mattered a lot to him this season, and that was Omarion Hampton. A lot of y'all are going to be like, who's Omarion Hampton? Omarion Hampton is North Carolina's star running back. This dude is like legit at running back, and when he's back next year, he might end up being the highest ranked running back in the draft class next year, because this guy, I think it might have been like maybe 3 or 4 games where he averaged over 9 yards a carry. One of those games was Clemson. He was averaging big yardage against Clemson. Then you're talking about he had another game. He had he had several other games where he averaged over 8 yards a carry. So you're talking about, when you talk about Drake Maye, you have to put in play Omarion Hampton as well, and his ability and how good he is to then counteract how good people think Drake Maye is. Drake Maye reminds me a lot of Drew Lock in the sense that he's a guy that if the play is right or depending on where the play goes, he's there. Like, if he's supposed to look at his first read is here, his second read is here, he's going to make that play. The problem is that when that play isn't there, his decision making really dwindles down. Like, and again, I know most people don't want to hear this, but he reminds me of a bigger Sam Howell. When it comes, the reason I gave the Drew Lock comparison is because he's a guy that if the play is supposed to go here, he's locked into there. If the play is supposed to go here, he's locked into that. He doesn't go beyond the play. And when he does go beyond the play, these are some of his qualities. When it comes to basically being agile and running the ball, he can get out there and run the ball. He can actually do that. Like, he can actually get out there, be mobile, and all that type of stuff. The problem is that when he finally gets mobile and he throws the ball, he's inaccurate at it. So again, I think that so many people have over-evaluated Drake Maye to the point at where it's almost comical. I heard somebody say something because I was out. And like y'all know, I never listen to the radio. But I was out yesterday and I happened to hear the radio, and next thing I know, I'm sitting there and somebody says that, well, I like Drake Maye because he has the big brother complex. And what that means is that when you have big brothers, you play up, and you want to show that you can compete and stuff like that. And it's like, do you know how many athletes are actually the only kids in their family? And they're star athletes. So that's a poor evaluation. That means nothing. When you see Drake Maye play, he's not the best quarterback. In fact, when you think about it, he's probably maybe the 5th best quarterback. Not only that, you can see he's a developmental guy. There's so many things he needs to work on. Like I said, being able to hand off the ball at the handoff point. When it comes to RPOs, he's not that good at it. You're talking about more work on his accuracy, especially when throwing the ball deep. More work on his accuracy when he's outside of the pocket and he's throwing the ball. Better decision making. Not only that, he also holds onto the ball as well. Like, when he knows that the play is that the receiver is open, he throws the ball and he does a good job throwing the ball to an open guy. But we know when it comes to the NFL, open can be a small window. He doesn't do well with small windows at all. Not only that, last bad thing about Drake Maye is that he doesn't throw with any anticipation. Like I said, he's no different than Sam Howell in this. He doesn't throw with anticipation at all. He doesn't give his receivers a real opportunity to go get the ball. Most of the time, if you see most of his throwing, he's either late, or he's late, or he's right on time that the guy hasn't made a mistake. Most of his receivers had to be absolutely great to do it. Josh Downs was one of them. So I know this may come off as a hit job, but to me, he's not one of the best quarterbacks in this draft. Potential-wise, again, it's going to take some time to develop Drake Maye. It's going to really take some time. And to be quite honest, normally I don't do this until my not mock draft. But to me, the best fit for Drake Maye, and this is just me being absolutely honest, the best place that he can go and actually do well and actually get time to develop and become a better quarterback is Buffalo. The reason why is because he's an athletic quarterback. He can learn how to throw better, being taught and learning behind Josh Allen. He has that size. And on top of that, it'll give him time to truly develop as a quarterback. Because again, when you're talking about taking quarterbacks in the first round and taking guys that over time they're going to develop and be something special as they develop, there are certain guys that has those traits that are special. Right now, Drake Maye doesn't have those traits. And because of that, you can't draft him high. And to be honest, I don't even understand why you would take him in the first round. You know, he's one of these guys that, in reality, a guy like Bo Nix is a better prospect. You know, Michael Penix Jr., again, a better prospect. Hell, even when you think about guys that might be picked in the third, fourth rounds, and this is depending on if he's in the draft this year, because I heard that he was in the transfer portal, but I don't know if he was accepted. But Cam Ward, you know, Cam Ward of Washington State is a better prospect than Drake Maye. So again, now he doesn't have the height, but he has the athleticism and the throwing ability. So again, like I said, everybody who wants to look at Drake Maye, everybody who's analyzing Drake Maye, they're not really seeing what they're supposed to see. The guy is, I think that this has more to do with a fan thing than anything else, because if you truly assess Drake Maye, he's not really that special. I think that what's happening is people are seeing that he's 6'4" and athletic, and they're ignoring everything else. Again, I hate to say this, but this goes back to the Sam Howell thing. It's like you can look at certain things and certain traits and think that the person is special, when you look at it and deeply, not as special as you really want them to be. So again, like I said, yeah, I could work in a scouting department and do a fantastic job scouting players, but nobody's giving me that opportunity because I haven't been able to benefit from nepotism. So again, like I said, Drake Maye, to me, he's not the second best quarterback in this draft. He's not a guy that I want Washington to draft, and anybody that takes him in the first round and expect for him to start day one or be a key component day one and have him not learn and be sitting on the bench to really learn, you're wasting your time. So that's what it is. I mean, that's my fair assessment of Drake Maye. I mean, like I said, he has athleticism. There's no doubt about that. He can get out there and he can run. 6'4", yeah, but I mean, 6'4" doesn't really matter in a league where you have to throw the ball. Not only that, again, when things are on schedule, he can make the play. And when guys are wide open, he can throw the ball. But anything beyond that, you're not getting a lot out of Drake Maye. He is, in fact, a developmental quarterback. What do y'all think? How do y'all feel about Drake Maye? There might be some of y'all who love Drake Maye, but this is my true and honest assessment of Drake Maye. He's not the best quarterback. He's not the best pocket passer in this draft. And he's definitely not. He's definitely going to be a developmental guy as time goes on, because he's not. There's a lot of things that he needs that is needed for a quarterback in the NFL that right now he doesn't have. And to be honest, his best place is probably backing up Josh Allen in Buffalo. Y'all tell me what y'all think. How do y'all feel about Drake Maye? How do y'all feel about my assessment of Drake Maye? Other than that, this has been your man, John Fortune, and this has been the Frustrated Fan Sports Show.